Oh,
Okay, Miss Danny Lynn.
yes.
Are you excited? Is this
I'm
your
very,
is this
it's
your
my first
first?
podcast.
It is
Yes.
my second.
Okay.
The good news about it is nobody listens to this. So,
Yet. Stars in the making.
yet it's not high pressure. It was like I think the first episode, well, I haven't looked in a few days, but in the first 2 days it was like 50 people
Well,
listened.
that's
So,
50 people that needed it. So
I that's the same amount that listen just when I'm talking loudly on my phone in public.
I love it.
It's no different. So, Danny, okay,
Mhm.
what are we talking about today? I know what I
Oh,
want to talk about, but what are you ready to talk? I think,
I'm
okay,
open.
I think we should talk about you this week as one of my best friends had a
Yeah.
great example of a lot of times when I say don't fucking text them, people in the comments are like, why are you saying that?
Right.
And it's hard because people think I'm saying it from a place of ego, and that's not
I think
it.
people just get pissed off because they're going to text them anyways, but they don't want anyone saying that in order for them to stop and look at their own shit. Like, why is this bitch telling me not to text him? Like, because I'm going to. It's just, it's a thing we all go through, I think. I think people just don't know.
Yeah. Well, okay, so let's talk about what's a time that you wanted to text someone and where did you really land on it? How about
Me?
that? Do you have a good
I've
story
never
about it?
felt that way ever. I'm perfect. So when I've wanted to text someone and I felt like I shouldn't, but I was going to anyway, is that what you're asking? Or
Okay, so think of a time. I'm thinking of literally yesterday.
okay. Oh,
Think of a time where
okay.
you were like, I just want to text them. Tell me not to fucking text them.
Yeah. So
And like what?
that was about 4 hours ago. Um, so once upon a time, 4 hours ago, I was on my phone and I said, I really, really want to text my person. I don't want to say like twin flame or anything. That's just really overplayed. But I
Yeah.
wanted to text my person because I was feeling a lot of abandonment wounds and I was really triggered in the moment based on something that he said. And yeah, I mean, I reach out and I say, please tell me not to text him, because it's like the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. And every time you text out of the intention of getting something from somebody else that you can give to yourself, you're going to get the same result. You're not,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So it was like just me being like, I feel sad and I feel like he's not treating me right. And I needed something. I just felt like if he sent me a text back, I'd get the hit that I needed.
Yeah. I can't remember what the example is because I know anyone that watches my lives or anything or has done readings with me knows that like I forget everything the
Yes.
moment it's done. But you, as my best friend, know that that is not exclusive to clients. I literally have no idea what we were talking. But I remember the energy of a text conversation we were having yesterday, this morning, where I can't remember the specifics, but I feel like I remember feeling like they'd be helpful to people. Where in that moment you were like, "No, Angela, this is what he said," and I feel completely like he hates me, he doesn't love me, like this is, and I was like, no, that's not what's happening. I read the screenshot. That is your own woundedness. And it was so
Oh,
clear to me. And you were like, oh, like you completely were blinded. I mean, I think it's a good example because we've all been there. You were completely blinded by your own woundedness. And I was
right.
like, just stop, don't react and go. But do you remember feeling that? Like you said it really logically when you just retold it. But
Yeah.
being in that moment, like you were in a different reality at that moment.
Well, being in that moment, I think I think our brains, if I'm stuck on being like, well, I flew into town and he told me that he wanted to spend time with me, but I think that this is going to play out exactly how it's always played out. I literally go into each text conversation automatically assuming that this is going to go to shit real quick.
Hmm.
And once it does, then even if he's not saying anything out of the ordinary, or if he's just being himself,
Yeah,
I was portraying that text as, oh, there we go. He doesn't want to
that's
see me
it.
anymore. And he was
Yeah,
like, I'm tired. I don't like, I can't see you tonight. And it's like,
I know.
excuse me. So
I know that's yeah, because our egos are a hell of a drug too, and I think
yes.
I think it's also, I mean, I'll just say this, but I think it's also because I think a lot of the people in our collective have some of our egos are a little higher because we
Mhm.
are used to so many people in some ways telling us how wonderful we are.
Right.
And then
Right.
when that one person you love doesn't, like, it needs to do something human and isn't falling all over themselves, it's like, what in
Who?
the
Yeah.
fuck?
Do you know who I am? Have you seen me? Like naked? Like, so it's just, yeah.
I have 40,000 followers. You should
Yeah.
be
Yeah. Yeah.
able.
Oh, I know. So
It's ego, but it's also our own woundedness, right?
it
I
is.
mean, I don't think people realize the thing is our brains don't really remember how we felt in the moment of something. So the next day, it's very easy to be like, "Oh, well, I realized that wasn't about me." But in
No,
that moment it feels so real.
it does. It does. And I think that's where the whole thing, don't fucking text them, was coined, is because, again, everything that you feel is real in the moment, a lot of the times, especially from a wounded place, is so far from the truth. And I think the healing journey is like really coming to that realization and not no longer. And I'm someone, you know this, I'm someone that I overreact and I'm over emotional. So for me, it's so much more than not texting them.
Yeah.
It's so much more than that. But if you can just start with not sending them that text.
Well, because it escalates from there. Yeah,
It
I
does.
think the way my therapist back when I was in therapy always said, "You're running an old program," and I think
Oh,
what
100%.
you're saying, that over emotional thing,
Yes.
it's not that you're like a crybaby, you know. It's
Well,
but
I
you're a Pisces
try.
moon, but it's the old program. It's just what
Right.
you're, and so we know those neural pathways get solidified, and
Yes.
so you're reprogramming it, and every time you do something different, it's making a new pathway, and it just takes time to change them. So I
Right.
think it's like that's why it's like don't text them, sit with your own shit. And I know
Yeah.
when I say this to you via text, I know it sounds a lot colder because my smiling face
No.
isn't there. But like
Well, I
when I'm like,
know.
don't answer, you just sit with your own shit.
Yeah.
It's yours. Like,
Yeah.
because here's the thing, we've all done this. When we text them from that place, and they're okay, side note, they're also wounded. And I said this to you this morning. Like, we're not making excuses for anyone's behavior. So, this is within the context of the understanding that you have this person that you feel so tied to that you are willing to do anything to make it work. So, that's the caveat I'll put out there. I'm
Right.
not saying anyone should sit in a shitty situation or better themselves to be better for somebody's dusty ass who's not ready.
Right.
But if you love someone and they also have wounds, and everybody has shit, and you want to be able to hold space for them instead of walking away,
Right.
this is what I'm saying. You don't reach out, you don't burn it to the ground. You sit with your own shit so you can at least, they're not going to be perfect, but at least you don't get so triggered by it, right?
Right. Right. Yeah. Mhm.
Because what happens, I mean, think about the times. What's the worst thing you remember? I'll share mine if you share yours. The
Yeah.
worst when you reached out in one of those states, and what's the biggest shit storm fire you started? What was the worst?
Well, he kicked me out of his house
I
when
think that was
I literally flew to see him last summer, and we were going to give it like a valiant effort and really try. And he was like, maybe I'll do long distance. Like, I want you to be here. So I fly up there, and I had got drunk accidentally on the plane. And, and I show up. He picks me up from the airport, and I get in his car because I was still really insecure and nervous, and I didn't really know if I could trust that you know what I mean? It's like,
yeah.
I'm like, the dude asked me to fly and spend a weekend with him. Okay. But here in my head, I'm like, oh, well, he just like wants to party with me this weekend. So I literally open his car door. I sit in a seat and I'm like, we should take shots. And he was like, you literally just flew in. We're supposed to like give us like, this is going to be a good effort to be in a relationship. And I was like, so no shots? Or like, what are we doing? So anyways, so I act like a psycho because I'm feeling insecure and I'm like feeling like I'm not saying anything right. And so I act out on that. And homie literally told me to leave the next morning. He was like, you got to go. And then we were separate. That's when we went our separate ways. The longest we've done that was for like, I want to be dramatic, but it was like a month and a half.
Yeah.
But still, that was
I
Crazy.
remember doing a shamanic healing on you for that memory,
Yes.
right? Because wasn't that when you were
Yeah.
like outside crying outside his
Yes.
door and he wouldn't,
I
yeah.
had never been to the city that he's in, which I'm in. I'm in that city for work right now, but it was the first time I was there, and it's not like the nicest city. And so he was like, "Well, go find a hotel and Uber. Like that's what they're there for." And I was just thinking, "Oh my god,
Yeah,
yeah."
I know.
And that was from reacting and out of a wounded place when I should have just been like, "Hey, I need to go to the bathroom," and just sat on the toilet and cried if I felt like I needed to cry. You know what I mean? Like it's not
Yeah.
that like difficult.
Always choose the toilet over
Always choose the
texting.
toilet over text. Actually,
That's the
we should
new
phrase that. Choose the toilet over texting.
dump it out. Just let it go. It's a whole new meaning to let it go.
Trauma toilet dumping. That's what we're doing.
I'm gonna go trauma dump. I'm gonna take a trauma dump. Oh my god. Okay.
Good.
I think I told you my story of the worst time I ever flipped out.
Which
Okay.
one?
This was 2 years ago. This was
Okay.
literally when I started dating him, when I was not even dating, when I was not divorced. But there was like a weekday night where he had worked a long day. He was tired anyway. Oh, there's a backstory. I forget. He was tired anyway. I was home alone and drinking in the bathtub. I was like, don't spit your water. I was drinking not White Claws, but press. They're
Yeah.
a little bit more upscale.
Oh,
In my bath.
Kim K, Green Bay.
I was drinking them in the bath, and he texted me and was like, "What are you doing?" And it was like a Wednesday night,
Drunk in the tub.
and I was like, I think I was so mad because I hadn't heard from him in days.
Yeah.
And I think so I was already stewing, and I was like, I am done with this person. And because this was round one of us dating. Like we had not been in separation. I hadn't heard from him. Now I know he was just working. But he was working in town at the time. And so I was fuming. And then when he popped up, I really thought we were done. And so I started drinking more when he first texted. But he was doing this thing where he was texting now I know he does this, like just for an hour asking stupid questions about what I'm doing. And I was so irritated. So I lied. So I started drinking more. And then I say, well, I'm on a date. And he was like, what? And I was like, yeah, I am. And he was like, well, and finally we got to a point where he's like, leave the date and come over. And I said no like 3 times, but then I was like, fine, but I'm drunk. So I go over there. No, keep in mind it's like 8:30 p.m. on a Wednesday.
Yeah, nice. Okay.
And he is not drunk. He has been working. He has just gotten home. He's probably had a couple. Like he's not like,
Yeah, good for him.
So whatever, we're talking for a little bit. I'm kind of being a complete bitch. We yada yada yada. We have sex. And then when we're done, we go back in the living room, and then I go to sit next to him on the love seat. And he goes, I am so tired. I don't want to cuddle right now. Can you just sit over there and give me a little space? And I went, excuse me. And I go over there, and I remember looking at him, and I was just like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And I said, and he goes, Ange. And I remember him just sitting there chill as fuck. Like, he was not being mean about it. And I said, that is so, sometimes you don't realize how selfish you are and how fucking cold that is. And he goes, I remember clear as day, he looked at me and said, Angela, just because somebody isn't giving you exactly what you need in the moment does not mean they're being mean. Other people needs to. And I went, I am fucking out of here. So I tear out of there. I leave. I think I sent him, I don't know. I think I sent him a voice memo on iMessage while I'm driving away saying, I hope you fucking die in your sleep. No, I think I yelled it in his face first that he had died in his sleep. And I was like, fuck you, blah, blah, use his full last name. And then I got in my car and I cussed him out via voice memo, and he said, and via text. And then he texted and said, I'm really tired. Can we please not do this tonight? Because he had a long day. He didn't even want me to come over in the first place. And then I had said I was out with someone else.
Yeah.
And then, so I was cussing him out. So then I get home and I was like, fine. And then I get home and then I Snapchat him a video and I'm like, I just want you to know, at least I know where my trauma comes from. And it's because I was abused by my husband, but you don't even have an excuse for acting like an asshole. We don't even know what your problem is. And then I sent him a second snap and was like, P.S. It's your mom.
Yes. Okay, so what happened? Did he like,
Oh, I didn't hear from him again. So we,
oh
and then I
no.
think I think I blocked him on everything, and I deleted him on Facebook, and I blocked him
Okay.
everywhere.
Mhm.
And then I think like a week later, I unblocked, and I was like, I'm so sorry. That was really fucked up of me. And then he didn't answer, and then I
Was
was
that
like,
the was that the time where it took 8 weeks to hear from him again?
no, that was just, it was just a few weeks, and then because that was like, okay, so that was September. That was just like mid-September of last year, and then so then but I when I said I'm sorry, I friend requested him back on Facebook and on Snap, and then he just ignored it all. And then on
Right.
my birthday, so
So
it's
annoying.
October
Mhm.
1st. So
Right.
on my birthday, I was dating a new guy, Mark, and he was coming over, and I
Mhm.
remember he had just gotten to my house, and I got the Snap notification that he added me back on Snap, and
That's
I
so
was
like
like,
him to do
I
it on your
can't.
birthday.
Yeah, and I was like, I can't do this right now. So I just didn't say anything for days, and then whatever. But yeah, it's that was the most embarrassing. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. And unfortunately, I have so many unfortunate, embarrassing moments that have spanned years that it's like at some point I have gotten a lot better. I really, really
yes,
have,
you have.
especially the past probably Junie, probably I'm not even there. Probably 6 months. But it's just crazy to think of the progression, and it's like, well, everything starts to make sense because you're like, oh yeah, like he's always responded that way, not because of me. It's just who he is. Like I'm just crazy sometimes. So
Yeah, I mean, I'll say now, 2 years later, and that's what I was kind of saying to you. You're not crazy. We all have our woundedness, and
right.
so I I think shamanic healing has helped us both a lot. Like,
Yes,
not just, that
yeah,
work is beautiful. Soul retrievals, there's something about when you're missing that part of your soul, it's just really hard to respond from a healthy place, a whole
right.
place, because you're literally, not whole. So for me, I don't know. That was when my tune changed, and I stopped acting like that as much because I felt better about who I was.
Right.
But I will say now that even though sometimes he still triggers me, um, I still trigger him quite a bit, but he triggers me less. So I've been able to hold space enough that we've had those moments where he's actually candidly said, like,
Mhm.
I don't know what the fuck is wrong with me, but like, this is who I am, and we all have issues, and
Right.
like, so I think a lot of times we're so triggered by them that we don't realize that like they're a person too, and we're just validating every villain backstory that they've ever
I
had, every girl that's ever yelled at them,
Yeah, I know. That's kind of what I was thinking today. I'm like, oh my God, that poor man is probably like, because his background comes from a big family. Parents were divorced. There's like 7 kids, and he's the middle, and he's the only other boy. There's like 5 girls and 2 boys, and I don't think he had a good relationship with his mom. And here I am, like at every moment, I'm trying to be his damn therapist, and
yeah,
I'm like, well, this is what you're not doing this,
yeah,
and you're not doing that, and it's like I'd be sick of my shit too, honestly. However, there are two. It takes two to tango.
yeah.
His reactions and treatment, towards me is not correct all the
Yeah,
time.
so
So
that's where it's like you got to stand in your power and decide what you want in your life, right?
yeah, but
But
when you
not,
want that one person, it's like, okay, I guess you just have to get to a place where like with or without them, if we really don't ever end up together, at least I had this wild experience that just like forced me even more into healing journey. I've had a lot of those, but like into a different healing journey that's just so much more, I don't know. I don't want to say individual, but he pushed me into this journey. So at least there's that.
yeah. I mean, I think it's just the more I heal, the more I look at it. Like, I don't think I'd ever, and maybe this is just my Aquarius moon, but like, I don't think I ever want anyone who's actually so,
Easy.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but and
It's
not from a bad place, but like, I don't, have I showed you or told you about, there's that comedian, I always say his last name wrong. Bert Kreisler or whatever. Like he's
Oh
that big.
yeah.
Okay. I think I don't know why he pops up in my feed all the time. And the last three guys I've dated have literally at one point turned to me and been like, people always tell me, and then they remind me
I
of,
look like yeah.
and did I tell you this? Because when I was
Yeah.
dating Derek, I said to him, I go, I remember at the grocery store when he said that, I go, you're the third boyfriend that is, I swear to God.
Yes.
And he goes, maybe you just have a type that's like, overweight, bald dads that drink too much. And I said, I do.
I do. I do.
But no, I think the thing that I learned from watching his stuff and watching his podcast and the clips on TikTok is his wife loves him very much, but rolls her eyes. They've been together like 20 some years. You know, they have two girls. Rolls, because he's a lot and he's very wounded and he's very open about it and he drinks too much and he's a fucking pain in the ass. But she just navigates around him. She rolls her eyes at him. She's in a very healed place and he is beautiful the messy way he is, and that's why his fans like him and stuff.
Right.
So like, but she's just able to be her, and their girls are just like, whatever, you know? And
Yeah.
so that's kind of the way I look at it right now. If I were to be in a relationship with someone who had those types of issues or, you know, or like kind of what you're going through, all we can do is heal to a place, and that if we decide we want to be with them, we are unbothered by their nonsense because it has nothing to do with us, you know?
Right. Yeah. That's the sweet spot. I mean, I think we're trying to get to.
Have you ever, I mean, I know the answer to this, but think about the time that you've been like the fucking messiest. Maybe you were just like out drinking one night with a bunch of people and you were just a shit show. Have you ever had a boyfriend or a friend that just was like, didn't care and just took care of you?
Oh, 100%.
It's
Yeah.
the nicest fucking feeling. You know, you're
It
a piece
is.
of garbage. You know, you're the most
Mhm.
out of control person. Like why can't we be that sometimes, right?
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And I just wish I didn't have a therapist as a mother because it would probably be so much easier for me to just let shit go. But I just hold on to it and I analyze it for days. So, but that's a beautiful description. It's a beautiful way of looking at somebody you love that you feels kind of crazy. Cause I mean, he even admits he's crazy. So it's
Yeah.
like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, let him be crazy then.
Don't we love that they're crazy? Isn't that part of them that we love?
100%. Yes, absolutely. And I think it's
Yeah.
it's easy to forget that when in the moment my need's not being met, and damn it, you need to meet my need
Yeah. That's
in whatever
ego.
way I tell you. That's a no. Yeah,
Because that's ego. That's our own,
it
that's
is.
only our own ego.
It is ego and fear, and just yeah, it's always us, and that's the crazy part of this entire thing is it's never about them or the other person, and it
No.
really can't be. It's only about us. And a lot of people get on a path similar to this and literally never grasp that, so they
Yeah.
just keep wondering why years later shit's still not going right.
Yeah.
Well, I'll give you, yeah, it's because it's about you, buddy.
Yeah. And the thing is too, if you really do enough healing work for yourself to be less bothered by them,
Mhm.
they do start to improve, because just having someone love
Yes,
them a little more unconditionally and not treat them like
absolutely.
such a piece of shit does help people heal.
Yeah, I agree. And that's, I mean, the whole law of assumption gang, that's just on a totally different path. But
Yeah.
it is, you know, a lot of people start this journey in hopes that it'll eventually like trying to change their person, right?
Yeah.
But if we just change ourselves, like whether you're consciously manifesting or not, the world changes around you because it has to. When you start seeing yourself differently, everything changes. It's just,
Yeah.
it's that stubborn doing the work to get to that place where you're like, okay, I'm fine. Like I'm letting go of all of this and I'm not trying to control anything. And it's like the world just opens up for you. I don't feel that way right now. I'm having a bad fucking day, but intellectually, I know that's where the magic happens.
That's the beauty, and those bad days get us to the good ones. Like honestly,
They do.
I hate to be so cliche, but it's okay to have those bad days too, where you just fucking
Yeah.
hate it
No.
all. It's hard because and you have to honor that too. I think that's the thing too, when clients have done the thing where they're like, oh, it's okay here, I'm in the same town as them and they don't want to see me, but I'll be okay because I know I'm manifesting our return. I'm like, you feel sad about it though. You can't just
Yes.
spiritually whitewash over the fact that you feel
Yeah.
like shit right now.
Mhm. Exactly. And okay, perfect example. I was because you know me, like I've been on the manifestation journey as well. And I've done law of attraction, law of assumption, and manifesting a specific person and all that stuff. And so today I caught myself and I was like, well, I was just thinking, well, like I'm already manifesting these changes. And like, if I don't see him again this week, like it's fine, blah, blah. And I was like, no, I'm sad right now. If I don't see him again this week, I will feel extremely crushed. I will be okay, but like, it's not a good day and I'm okay with that. I don't need to like try to manifest harder or try to say positive affirmations about myself harder. Like I can honestly just be like, I'm really fucking feeling some shame and guilt right now and I'm sad and that's okay. And I can go take a bath and just feel that.
And one good way to tie all that together too is to be like, I love myself enough to honor my self-concept is high enough that I'm gonna honor the fact that I feel like shit and that's okay.
Yeah. And not fucking text him.
Yeah, and not tank my whole thing by being like, I manifested this, I'm a piece of shit, not go there either. Because when I was doing that, like when I was the full-on love
assumption, and attraction,
I was fine until it's stop where you come down from that, and then it's a shame spiral and it's worse. I think those of us that were like the overachiever, perfect daughter types, like it's just it's too close to that. So
I agree.
I think I love myself enough to just be, it is very sad. We have to honor reality. And like part of it is, and that's why I like shamanism, because it's rooted in Mother Earth or Pachamama. And the reality is of it, everything dies and there is a mourning period and there is a sad, and even like seasons. So like not everything's going to be great all the time. It's not realistic to just expect and then to just whitewash over it. Like, but the good news is like the earth and spirit is there to hold us during those times.
Yeah. And I think so much, whether it's a generational thing, whether it's a manifestation thing, because a lot of people that watch your channel have been or are on a manifestation journey of some kind. And I think a lot of the manifestation coaches and people push, well, your main goal really is to feel good. So whatever you're doing that's not making you feel good, that's what's blocking your manifestation. It's like, wait a minute, I'm a real human being with real emotions.
Yeah.
And me feeling upset because I'm in a city where the love of my life is, and he's being fucking Steve right now and a dick. I'm not like trying to just feel good is just digging that hole that much deeper and just suffocating your true emotions. Like, because you're not going to manifest from that place if you're just stuffing everything down. So I don't know. That was just really bothersome for me today. Cause I was like, I was listening to this guy named Dylan James and he was like, whatever you're doing, you just really just need to start making sure that your daily practices make you feel good. And I was like, well, shit, if it was that easy, then everybody would have manifested whatever the hell they wanted, but that's not real life.
So I think, so here's the shamanic twist on that and the more ancient perspective. It's not too far off. It's just semantics, but in shamanism, they say, choose joy every day. You can't choose joy, right? So you can choose joy. So, but you still have to do that from a grounded place with your feet firmly on the earth and dropping your belly into the belly of Mother Earth and letting it hold you, like really getting rooted and grounding your energy on this earth, which is one of a realist of saying, this is the reality of the situation. They say a shaman surveys all of the possibilities and tracks all of what's going on and is really honest with themselves about what it is, and then chooses out of that vision what they want to bring in a bigger focus for ourselves. But to do so, you have to be really honest. And then, and the thing my teacher, Jose Luis, said this weekend too, is, and then you choose your engagements really carefully, because you cannot change people. You can change the way that you will see them and you walk with them. So I think that's where the law of attraction folks get a little bit off track for me, because
very well.
Yeah, it's more like, I mean, everyone has free will, but it's more of, you can change the vantage point on which you see someone's behavior. So, point in case, your person telling you he's tired and he doesn't have it in him tonight. You can come from a place of being like, I see that. Okay,
Yeah.
sleep well, talk to you later. Okay, daddy, like I told you
Yeah.
this, just for the
Yeah.
record. Or and you weren't there, and that's okay. Or you can be like, you fucking piece of shit, I am in town, you never want to see me, you don't care
Yeah.
about me, I feel
Yeah.
stupid.
Yeah.
So this is what I'm saying, the healing part. So by choosing joy in the shamanic traditions, what it would mean is take a look at your shit and acknowledge what is yours and what's stopping you from being happy. Okay, my belief that that's about me right now is stopping me from being happy.
Yeah.
And
That's
then you
good.
do the work to let go of that and to heal those imprints and to align with the most healed version of you and to remember what that is and try to bring yourself as much into balance with that on your own so
Right.
that you can see those people different. It doesn't mean that he's not going to still be selfish and want time alone when it would be nice you're only in town for a week, right?
I
But it's
know.
the way you see it's going to change.
Right.
So I
Mhm.
think, but choosing joy is still, it's like you're choosing joy by healing yourself and by looking at that from a different place. But you might
Yes.
also choose that one from a healed place that your joy would mean you don't want to date him anymore.
Yeah.
You don't know that till
Yeah.
you
And
get there.
I mean, choosing joy is so much different than just feeling happy,
Yeah.
because when you frame it in the concept of choosing joy, that means you're making a conscious decision to be like, I feel like shit right now and I just want to go eat a tub of cheese.
Do it.
And I want to text him and I want to be like, why don't you fucking love me the way I want you to love me? Why, all that stuff. But I'm just going to choose to, go take a bath and eat some cheese and just be happy and deal with my shit. That's such a more beautiful way of putting that, instead of just feel happy. Whatever makes you feel happy. It's like, well, what would make me feel happy in this moment is texting him and being like, is your dick still sore? Like, why are you being a piece of shit? But I'm not going to do that. So
yeah, I would highly advise against that
personally.
100%.
100%.
I just have it written down, and and a lot of people talk about shaman as shapeshifters, if you haven't heard that.
Yeah.
But it really is, metaphorically speaking, especially as like a shamanic practitioner versus a full-on shaman. The thing I've written down here is, he said, when you're able to deconstruct yourself,
Ooh.
you can shapeshift, right? Deconstructing yourself is arduous, but it can be done. So if you can pull those pieces of you apart enough to see them, and this is a wound, this is ancestral, this is karmic, and let them go, because you really can, then you can change into what you want to do. And then that's when you really do have the power to manifest that vision from a clear,
absolutely
healed place.
Yeah, I love that.
And it can be done. Like, it's arduous, but it can be done. When he said that, I like that. But I think that's where too many of us, it's not about self-concept either, because I would argue I've had the highest self-esteem out of anyone.
And I agree, you have the highest self-concept of anyone I've met in my entire life.
But I still had wounds, and I still have wounds.
And you subconsciously, just because you have the highest self-concept, yes, but subconsciously, if you're put in the same situation, like, you're still going to act out on that specific wound if you don't get into the root of it and grab it out.
Yes. And then even after a soul retrieval is done in shamanic healing, which you and I have had a bunch of done.
Yeah.
I have this written down too, but you have to incorporate the newly gained part of yourself back in and hold it sacred to you. And you have to remember that, or you will just go back to an old program.
It's like training a muscle.
It is. It's, you're retraining those neural pathways. So like, that's why I'm saying that's an old program. I'm not going to do that anymore. But it's asking to, so you can manifest what you want, but the difference is, it's what am I sourcing from? So and when you decide to decide that his text saying he's tired means he hates you, you're feeding your fear. You're not feeding that.
And it loves that. And my physical body loves to feed the fear, because my subconscious brain and like my physical body can't tell if what's going on in my 3D reality is real or not. Does that make sense? Like, yeah. So
go ahead. No, I just think, it does. But I think that's where part of this journey is too. So I think a lot of us, particularly in North America, are not very good at feeling uncomfortable.
No,
because
especially we have everything to make us feel good at our fingertips.
So the minute our body feels uncomfortable, we have to do something, and that's the texting them, that's the, but if part
Yeah.
of this journey too is regularly getting yourself in a place of feeling uncomfortable so you can learn that you can manage that,
Yeah.
and so that
That's
you don't
good.
need to do something every time, and I'm
Right.
practicing that right now, you know.
Yeah. I'm trying to practice.
I think too, because like, well, and that's why Jose Luis this weekend was telling us. Did I tell you how he was telling us to go on a vision quest?
I don't
I don't think I
know.
told you this yet. Okay, I gotta read because I have to do it, but I'm terrified. So basically, what he was saying with the deconstructing yourself is arduous, but it can be done. He was
Mhm.
saying, you so you want to shift so that you can get to that healed state. So the one of the ways to do it is a vision quest. So like what that means is spending 3 to 4 days in a remote place offering a quest for the vision of the life you are going to manifest.
So it's like
Okay,
quantum jumping.
you do quantum jump during this process, but
Wow.
you're sacrificing. You need to be like cold, hungry,
Ooh.
afraid. You're meeting spirit with your fears. Um,
Ooh.
so because he said life on its own loves to and will test you. Um,
Mhm.
but if you do it at the expense of your own pain, there are rewards waiting. So he was saying, you go into basically, if you find a place off the grid that you can safely be in, he said you can do it in groups, so there's people, but no talking for 3 or 4 days, nothing but water. In my approximation, I envision a juice cleanse because I do.
Yes, yes.
I'm not gonna, if I can't have cashew milk at the end of the day, let me tell you. Okay, so,
Yes.
but you go and then basically, like let's say an Airbnb on Washington Island, right? Like in the middle of nowhere where you're safe. You can go inside and sleep at night, but no talking to anyone, no cell phones, nothing. You just sit outside all
Yeah.
day. You sit outside and you stare. And he said, in that space, you dissect your own visions, what they are about. And sometimes those visions can be harbors of good corn, of good, like things
Yeah.
to feed your vision, right?
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
sometimes they are not. And then you find
Yeah.
you need to change them because whatever you're stuck with when you're in that place. So, when he said when he did it 6 days in the desert in California, and there was an old shaman who would come out and check on him from afar, but not. I think it was somebody in the Navajo community that oversaw
Yeah.
this. So he did it in their tradition. He said they told him he drew a circle. He made a circle with cornmeal and put 4 flags around him, and all he had was water. And he sat in that circle for 6 days. And he said, by the
Mhm.
a few days in, like you start to lose your fucking mind, and like you
Yeah.
sleep, but you don't know different. You go almost delirious, but it really does clear out all your shit, both
Wow.
physically and yeah. But when he said, I have that again, life on its
Mhm.
own loves to and will test you. But when you do it at the expense of your own pain, there are rewards waiting. So when he said that, I'm
Ooh.
thinking of you and me, like, at the Ritz in Lake
I
Tahoe,
know.
pitching
About
because
yeah.
we couldn't get the table we wanted. And I'm
Yeah.
like, God damn it. Like,
Yeah.
that's not helping us. And
No.
I don't think it's like, I think for a moment I was like, I have to get rid of everything and go live off the grid. No, like we
Yes.
also are choosing joy by manifest. We're living in lives we manifested to some extent, but we have to go find these painful points and somehow get ourselves to a place to feel uncomfortable at times, so we get used to it, so that we don't feel like we need to react to every fucking bad feeling we have when we get back to our happy life.
Absolutely. And isn't that crazy how it's like, I don't know if we're pre-programmed to feel this way, but if something bad does happen, or if we don't get the response we want, if we're not being treated a specific way, like, and we just automatically go react to what's happened in the moment instead of what we want to happen. Like I could have been like, okay, well, he texted me this back and it's not what I wanted. And I would have wanted him to say something different, but I guess it doesn't matter. I don't know. It's so interesting to see how our brains just formulate other people's intentions when we have no idea half the time. We really
Yeah.
don't.
Well, and that's what the shamanic path is all about, sorting out your own shit.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's really what the whole spiritual awakening is, but not everyone uses it for that. It's, it's here. It's like so I have written down too. We need to find a way to make clear choices. And to
Yes.
do that, we need to undo our old patterns. So a lot of people, we can have this clear vision and we can feel like we're constantly reading the situation really well. But, if we don't understand our own patterns and what's going on in our own head, we're never going to see the water for the
I
trees.
know. And it's just saying it, it gave me chills. And it's so, if you're really doing the work and you're not just posting videos on TikTok about doing it, if you're really doing the work, it is so unbelievably painful at times. But holy crap, you just get to a point where like, I can't imagine life different. Like, I love this. And as pain, as the depth of pain you feel, the depth of pure joy you will be able to feel, the height of pure joy you will feel. So it's all so worth it.
It is. I mean, I'm the first to admit I have plenty of days sometimes where, especially because my thing, I love being a victim. So we all know our core wounds, and that's my number one. I'd like to go back to what does he call it? He calls it, are you feeling sorry for yourself again? That's my favorite thing to do. Yeah. I like to be a miserable bitch about it. And there, I look at some of my friends that are not on these spiritual paths who just have had perfect lives. And in my, and not even just from my vantage point, like, I mean, they have, shit happens to everyone, don't get me wrong, but for the most part, they have pretty beautiful lives. And that's our path. We all get to choose. I believe firmly, we all choose before we incarnate. And some people have less past lives or less trauma in their past lives, or maybe they cleared them 3 lifetimes ago and they're just taking it easy street now. Yeah. And that's how I'm gonna do the next one. But no, I want to clear it all in this one so I can come back as like prom queen in the next life. But but be Lady Gaga. No. But I mean, she had trauma too, but what I'm saying is we did choose it, and I know I did. And yeah, there's a lot of beauty. I think part of it is when you heal enough to just really be present in the beautiful moments of your boring, happy, peaceful life.
Mundane life, yeah. That's good. Instead of running, I'm really bad at that because I always feel like there should be something more, that's my problem. In relationships, people, job, but there has to be something more to this.
Yeah. I know when I had that shamanic healing done yesterday, I was talking to my teacher, Amy. She said, so she's been with her partner since high school, and I think he just turned 60. So they're, and I said, when she said, what do you really want? I said, I want someone to walk with me like Dave walks with you. Like, that's what I want, beauty, and I want the real love, and I want. And at the end of the healing, she said, I am very fortunate I've had him, but that's just the icing on the cake. If you're not happy with whatever you have going on, it's not going to be enough. And I said, you're right, because I met the love of my life like 4 different times now. And my my high school boyfriend who I broke up with, and my college boyfriend, and then the guy in my 20s, and then my marriage. Like, nobody's ever enough. It's not enough. And I get into those situations, and then there's another ex I miss, or there's always something. I'm never content. I'm always waiting for something to sweep me off my feet. And she goes, yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
That's good. That hurt my little Pisces heart. I was like, damn.
And I mean, honestly, I think about it a lot. So I think one of the other big things that people yearn for, as are having kids, right? So I was 33 when I got pregnant with Rad on accident, but so I had many years thinking I was never going to have kids. It was not my path. I had been with Jared for a year. He wasn't going to have another one. He was not nice about it, so, and I was in my 30s. So I had that, and then that happened for me. So you would think that Ange got what she wanted, she'd be okay. No, because now I just focus on the relationship, and I have to fit. I mean, you've spent a lot of time with Rad. People would kill to have that kid.
Yeah.
And I also have the mirror of my brother and sister-in-law who tried to have kids and have the relationship, and I watch that haunt them, even though they have the relationship. So I don't want to be the person who's just like never happy,
satisfied, content.
That's an imprint for me, because that's my dad would tell you that's why him and my mom split up. My mom doesn't think that, but that's his shit. Nothing ever made her happy enough.
Yeah, I get that.
And my grandma too. It is an imprint in my family. And so when she said that, I was like, fuck, I need to be
Yeah.
single for a while. And not forever. And she was like, you don't have to do a black and white, like always and never, but like, yeah, you need to be really solid. I will tell people I love my life. I do, but I also know that I
Yeah.
should.
Right.
It's different
Mhm.
to know you should and to feel kind of shitty and humble about it versus actually being content, right?
Yeah, I agree.
I think that, I mean, like people say that shit to you all the time, don't they? About like, oh, your life looks so whatever, right? I mean,
Well, yeah, I mean, if and both of this, it happens to both of us. It's like I'm talking to some woman at a location or in a new city I'm in, and she's like, well, you're so beautiful, like you're gorgeous. Why is it so hard for you to find a man? Like, what's the wrong in your life? And I'm like, if being pretty was a fucking $1 million
yeah.
problem solver for my life, I would have solved my problems a long time ago. I don't care how pretty you are. I don't care how it just, yeah, I don't know.
I was thinking about this yesterday too when I was doing my shamanic healing because I was like, in the 2 years since I met this man, like I had done everything I could to be good enough for him.
Yeah. Yeah.
I look
Ooh.
completely different. Like I am literally like
I know.
I
I've
have
seen pictures. Yeah.
I I know I really have had a
You
glow up.
do. Yeah.
But like because I'll be really honest, it was not for myself. I
Yeah. And
really
the people that say it is for themselves are fucking liars. At some point it can be, but in the beginning, absolutely not.
I
I didn't
thought
just go get fringe bangs because I was going to be in Baltimore for a week. I got him because I knew I was going to see him. I wanted to look hot and I wanted my hair colored. Okay.
I
That
know,
is the God's raw dog truth.
but it
We're coining it raw dog truth from now
so
on.
they're just okay. But here's the thing, like that, yeah, that. And also for me, I thought in my specific situation, I thought like money and building something and being
Mm,
smart was super
mhm.
important to him. So
Yes.
like I literally took I started this whole business. I started this social media. I switched
Yeah.
careers.
Mhm,
This man does not care about any of that. I could
mhm.
look just as ugly as I did when I was not ugly, but I
You were
could look
not ugly. No.
I could just be raw dog in life facially, like I was,
Yeah.
and I could be just be doing my finance thing and not and like that's not what he ever cared about.
Yeah. I know. It's so weird. I wonder what we make them think about their own selves and their own life. You know what I mean? Like if I could live in their head and be like, well, Ange kind of made me want to think about this, or Danny really said something and it makes me think about this.
Yeah.
I think that'd be fascinating. I know yours said he wanted to be on the podcast one day. I think he was just joking, but that would.
No, that's not what he said.
Oh, wait, never mind. Okay, we're getting a little TMI.
It's
Um,
fine.
it's just it's so interesting, fascinating. People are, yeah.
I think no, I think what he said is I was like I have to go live tonight and he said I'm sure they'd love to watch me like bust my load all over you and I was like that is not what I'm doing. But they probably pay to see that too. I feel like there should
Probably.
be a Twin Flames section of OnlyFans.
Honestly, there probably is. That would not surprise
I
me.
might subscribe to that if there was. But twin flame porn, it feels more spiritual.
I feel like I have to go do some research after this. Twin flame burn.
They're trying to bet you any money there is.
Oh,
Because there's people
100%.
that are like, I just want to, there's some like Uber, there's somebody in Sedona, like, I just want to watch twin flames
Just
having
bare
sex.
naked on the red dirt. Yeah.
I will only
Mm.
the only porn I will watch will be divine counterpart
Divine
porn.
counterpart porn.
Oh
I
my
love
God,
that
it's
porn.
totally a thing.
It's totally a thing.
Why
Totally.
are we not making money doing this? Okay, anyway, but that's not what I'm doing. No, I think back to your original question. I think I have gotten those. So there's been a few instances where I don't understand in the moment,
Mm.
and then they say it later. So like one of them was, I think there was a moment for me when my person was in a karmic, in that relationship, and um they I was dating someone who was asking to borrow money
Yeah.
And I said, oh, when we first met, I remember him saying that when we matched on Tinder, because we met on Tinder, he was like, you seem so normal. He was like, I get so many girls asking me to borrow money before we even meet. And I'm like, really? And he was like, yeah. So I knew this was a theme and I knew we were mirrors. So like, I was like, I just texted because we're friends. That's how we are.
Right.
So like, I texted him that day and I said, oh my God, he keeps asking to borrow money. I know this, has that ever happened to you? And he goes, not in years. So at the time, I believed him, but literally just this week is when he came clean that that same ex owes him 2 grand. And I was like, so
I
you were
know.
fucking, and I remember standing in his house when I was like, I just feel like she's using you and you don't see it. And he was like, she's not like you. She doesn't fucking care about money. And he was
Oh,
really mad.
such a
And I
win.
was like,
Yeah.
okay, well then I don't know or whatever. I'm just your friend. And then come to find out now she was. Okay.
Right.
So and then there's been times too where especially I think that where he's like, okay, remember that time that you said about me and her that blah blah blah. You were right.
Yeah.
Like it does, and then this is a little bit different, but like, yeah, there's definitely times, and then there's random times that I've triggered him. Remember the Mexican restaurant story? I tell
Yes.
this one all the time, but
Mhm.
he got so mad at me that one night when I told you you and I went out to dinner and we didn't like the food, and
Yeah.
2 weeks later he was like,
Mhm.
"Oh my God, 2 weeks ago I just want to hate fuck this shit out of you." And
Yeah.
I said, "What about what?" And he goes, "Because that restaurant, you didn't give him the chance to fix the food." I go, what? That was so
Yeah.
innocuous. So I mean, like,
Yeah.
yes, it does, and
Mhm.
it does because, and he said to me sometimes too, and my person is like me, where it takes a lot to bother either one of us. And he said a bunch of times, like, you just really fucking piss me off sometimes. Like it's you
Well,
don't even understand.
I've gotten that I hate you and I love you at the same time. And it's like,
Yes,
do I have that much of an impact on you? So
yes, you do.
yeah, yeah,
There's a fine line between love and hate.
there really is. And I don't know how you can be with the same person the rest of your life married if you don't hate them at some point. You know what I mean? Like that's what the
Yes.
passion is. Like I don't want to be with someone that's just like, I love you all the time. And it's like, well, that gets kind of boring. Like, let's spice it up. Do something. Yell at me. Let's do something.
Yes, I think that the whole
Let's grow.
yes, I think that the whole thing for me is any committed relationship and partnership has to acknowledge that there's going to be really rough times, and it's your ability to partner through them, right?
Yeah. What is the old grandma adage? It's not you and the problem versus me. It's you and me versus the problem.
Yeah, I like
Right.
that.
And I think a lot of times it's just, especially your upbringing. For me, it's like I was taught as a therapist mother, I'm always trying to analyze why he is behaving the way he is towards me. And
Mm,
it's been so hard to be like, wait, it doesn't matter because
no.
this is about me. Stop analyzing and think and looking at what he's doing entirely.
Yeah. Has he ever said that to you either? Because my person's, he said that to me several, not anymore because I don't do it, but he'll be like, stop psychoanalyzing me. I don't need that.
Yes, he's said that a few times, but the problem is he's such a mirror to me and we're both so deep and spiritual that yeah, I think he analyzes me a lot too, though, in ways that it's like, okay,
Yeah.
stop.
Yeah.
Like, so I don't know.
But when you stop, they stop. I can say that much because once I stopped,
100%.
I don't see him doing that anymore. It used to be a big chess match, and now it's just like
Yeah.
it gets a little heated. It's like, are we gonna do this, or are we gonna? No, let's take our gloves off. It's not worth it.
Yeah. I like that.
I think it, the one thing too that my best friend Jenny, when she got married years ago, I remember at her shower, her grandma had been married like 60 years or something already, and she was talking to us and she said, I'll tell you girls, because we're probably in our late 20s. She's like, I'll tell you girls that when they say in marriage there's good days and bad days, that's not exactly true. There are good years and bad years. And you
Yeah.
might have a handful
Mhm.
of years that are particularly tough. But if you go get through it together and you're committed to each other, like
I
will
love
get
that.
through it. Yeah.
I love
And I
that.
think that was more realistic to me when she said that. And I think at that moment I was like, I don't think marriage is for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's beautiful. That's really beautiful. It's really, yeah, finding someone wanting to commit to that with you.
But I think that's where, for me personally, and I think about this because you're Leo rising, I'm Sag rising. I think Leo and Sag rising in particular I don't know why, but I do. And my mom's Leo rising. We have this thing where if you're not gonna do the right fucking thing by me, I am out of here. Like we
Yeah.
are quick to run. And so
Yes.
I was taught that my whole life.
Being
Like
quick to run.
it's a pride thing. It's like
It is.
I'm not gonna stick around for. My mom would be like, my mom's also been with my stepdad like 30 years now, but she would be like, ew, like bad years. No, thank you.
Yeah.
Life is short. Go.
Yeah. Life is short. Go be homeless if you have to, Danny. That's what she would say.
Yes, but the woman teaching me this, I have to remember, has only had 2 romantic partners her entire life.
Exactly.
She was with my dad for 25 years and then Jim for 30. So like what
Yeah.
she didn't live her own fucking advice.
Yeah, I know. Well, none of us. Yeah, it's really hard for any of us to do that, right? I mean, geez.
But look at like even your mom, but but she'd be the first to tell you to move on, move on, move on. But how many times has she done that? Not to throw her under the bus, but
Countless. It's like you're in a marriage right now trying to get the same result that I'm trying to get from somebody else.
Yeah. So nobody's following their own advice anyway.
Nobody's following their own advice anyway. No. Because if we all were, we would all be literally in $1 million homes driving Range Rovers with a perfect family and a child named Leela and Grace, like just perfect little suburb fucking soccer mom in my little Range Rover. But that's just not, life can be really hard and that's okay.
Well, and it doesn't have to be, but
the moments can feel really hard. But yes, if you get to an aligned and healed place and you don't text them, it's so much easier.
Yeah. And perception is such a great tool within our body. It really is. Language is the trap. And so I think we get stuck in all these words so much instead of that's why developing a daily spiritual practice of connecting and rooting in Mother Earth and getting away from the language and tapping into that natural ability of perception is really the best gift anyone can do.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's
and that's why we say don't fucking text them. Go outside, touch some grass, root in.
Yeah, exactly. Go eat some corn nuts and go like on a walk barefoot, a hot girl healing walk barefoot. I mean, topless. Hell, who cares?
You're so funny. You've topless. You've hit the point. You have it in your eyes where you're done talking about it because this is how you get.
Oh, I just got so tired for some reason. And now I'm like, now that we've had this conversation, I'm like, okay, so don't fucking text him, Danny. So
I know, but you get a look in your eyes.
I get a glazed, even at restaurants, I get like a glazed eye.
Junie is going crazy. I know. Well, I'm going to call it since you've got your Danny's done look in your eyes.
Okay.
Well, I love you so much.
I love you so much. This was so fun.
Don't fucking text him.
Don't fucking text him, guys.
No, I'm talking to you.
Oh.
Bye.
Bye.